And we are live for another edition of the K&K Sports Show. Guys, on time, 7:30. This is a miracle. It's a miracle on 34th Street. This is a miracle on 93 George Russell tonight. But
you just gave the whole world your address.
That's okay. That's okay. You probably know it anyway, so what's the big deal?
That time of year.
Yeah, that time of year. Let's go around the panel. How is everybody tonight? Mr. Siciliano, by the way, I hope everybody watching insists you can go back, Paul and Kenny. You like the little decorations. Again, you don't see it now, but the screen's a little decorated for Christmas tonight, so I hope you guys like it.
I hope Jenny Hoops is listening. Well, you got your interest. Let's just go, and I'll say what I got to say.
Okay.
When you come in.
Mr. Siciliano, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. I would just like the audience to know that because of me, Kurt is on time tonight. And the show will start 10 or 15 minutes later. Thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Eddie Murphy saying, need to have Kenny and Sis do a K&K entrance song for the show. It's quiet before you guys start. Yeah, we got to do something. We're going to, you know what?
Yeah, we'll work on that for next year.
We're working on that. And we got Paul Mulvaney working on something like that too. But Mr. Rosen, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. Happy holidays. Good evening, gents. Looking forward to a good show, and happy holidays to everybody.
Kenny, before I get you, because I know you got something to say, I want to shout out to three special people. And again, there are interns. Olivia, who was doing a little of everything. Again, she does our podcast side, but she's helped us with, helped me with a lot of logos for our bowls, which we'll start picking tomorrow for the Wits and Wagers. She's been reaching out to a couple of people, just so you guys know. She reached out to Don LaGreca to try to get him on the show. We're going to try to get a Yankee, maybe David Cohn. A couple of things with the Mets, Darling or Hernandez. So she's going to start working with that. And she does a little of everything. Obviously, you guys met Daniel. He does a lot of stuff on our social media. He comes on. He's our hockey guy. He's a big Met fan. And, of course, Rachel, who does she does a lot of stuff. She's going to really start. We're going to hash out when we start going over the sponsorships and stuff. She does that. And, of course, she does all our pictures and stuff. So our three interns, they do awesome stuff behind the scenes. Hopefully we get them on the show and stuff. But I just wanted to shout out to for all of us to them that they're doing a great job. And Mr. Kirkpatrick, Eddie Murphy saying Kenny rocking the headphones tonight. So you got a new look, Mr. Kirkpatrick.
Well, yes. Let me thank the interns too. Echo your words there, Kurt. We much appreciated from all of us, like you said. Santa arrived early. I got my first gift set of headphones. I'm working very well. I can hear very lot clearer. We have Giants' little helper, not Santa's little helper, Paul, joining us tonight. We got a little segment later. Eddie, you're gonna like our little Giants segment tonight. It's our Giants wish list. What we want for what we want going in for Christmas. What our wish list is, and we gotta have a little fun little segment later. Kurt, I hope Jen's listening, because you can say you put up Christmas lights. You put up on it might be on the computer, but you put up Christmas lights.
Well, you know what, Kenny? I wish Jen was listening. She's out shopping right now, but I put Christmas lights. You got to see how nice the deck looks outside. I did Christmas lights out there too, so I'll put pictures on the Facebook page. So I did lights on here and outside, and by my parents. So triple Christmas lights.
Was it a Clark Griswold type of thing, or was it? Was there any technical difficulties, or was it a one-shot thing in the day?
It was a one-shot. There was a one-shot deal. Me and Ryan had a little struggle in Garfield.
Oh wait, Ryan was there. Ryan Kurt's brother was there helping. It wasn't
in Garfield. In Garfield, not here.
Okay, I'm kidding.
Go ahead,
Mr.
Kenny.
Siciliano's back in full force tonight, I see, in Christmas spirit with his red, but he wears that red every week, and rightfully so.
That's right. I'm steady.
The Alabama candy cane.
Is that crimson or is that red?
No, this is crimson and white, my friend.
Crimson.
We're gonna give you the name, the Alabama candy cane tonight.
This was a gift. This was a gift along with a sweatshirt and another one for my sister. It was an early birthday present because my birthday's next week.
That's right. By the way, next Wednesday when we're doing the show live, it'll be Mr. Siciliano's 58th birthday next week.
Again.
Yeah, okay.
By the way.
Again and again, really.
Eddie's saying I'm tired of the Giants. I might step out. LOL. So Eddie's fired up with
You
his
know what,
Giants
Kurt?
already.
We all are.
I think me, you, Paul, and everybody else. I think I think we need to do something next week for Sis's birthday.
Yeah, we'll figure something
Yes.
out. We'll
Let's
figure
figure like
something
a
out.
"This Is Your Life" type of show.
Yeah.
with
Right.
Sis next week. Bring
By
in
the way-
special guests all night long.
By the way, Eddie's first comment's going to put a smile on Sis's face. He said, doesn't look a day over 45.
What a man. What a man. Thank you, sir.
By the way, Eddie,
See,
I'll echo that, Sis. I will echo that.
I want to
Thank
know
you.
what Eddie thinks of the Christmas. Eddie sees the whole Christmas view with the lights and the wreaths and the Santa Clauses. I want to see what he thinks of the screen. How good of a job I did. But Kenny, can I get into some what's that called?
Kurt's
How come we
Cricketers.
can't see the lights?
Well, you can't. You have to go back to the show and see it.
Oh, okay.
You have to see it live. When we go, you can watch a rerun. You'll be like,
I got
wow.
it.
So, Kenny, can I get into some quick hitters real quick?
Absolutely. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Eddie's
get the
saying he
show
likes
rolling.
it. All right, so let's do. I want to try to do one-word answers because I got 11 and I want to hit all 11. All right, number one, we're going to start with Kenny, Sis, and Paul. Kenny, Steph Curry last night broke the all-time most three-pointers in NBA career. Kenny, is he the best shooter ever in the NBA?
Best I've seen, yes.
Sis,
Yeah, I'll tell you, and I've seen a lot of them. He's definitely top dog right now. I agree. Yeah.
Mr. Paul.
I would say absolutely right now, the way the game is played, yes.
All right. Eddie's saying rest in peace to number 88, Demaryius Thomas. Obviously, we'll go into
Yeah,
that
we'll have a
later.
little tribute for him a little later. Absolutely.
All right, going forward,
Bronco Mania.
guys, rank these guys 1 through 3, meaning your highest one's 1, your lowest one is 3. After seeing roughly 10 to 14 games of these guys, how would you rank Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, and Justin Fields, Kenny, going forward right now?
Oof. Gosh. I'm going to go Trevor Lawrence 1 by default. I'll go Justin Fields 2 and Zach Wilson 3.
Sis, rank Lawrence, Wilson, Fields going forward for the future with what you see
Yeah,
so
exactly what Kenny just said. We'll go with Trevor first, Fields second, and the kid from the Jets, Wilson, third.
far. Paul, you going to echo that or you going to change it up?
Originally, the beginning of the year, I loved Zach Wilson, but I'm you know what? I'm going to go Trevor, Zach Wilson, and then Justin Field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
And he's saying,
I hope these last 5 games Fields bombs.
Yeah, I know.
Get it closer to that number 1 pick.
Eddie is saying Lawrence, Fields, and Wilson, so he agrees with you guys on that. My next NFL one, Kenny, is Big Ben done?
I'm going to say he retires, but I don't know if he's done. He might have one last spark in him this year. And that's in the NFL talk a little later, but I'm going to say he's not done yet.
Sis, is Big Ben done?
Absolutely.
Paul.
Too many injuries. Yep, he's finished.
Yes, done. Stick a fork in him.
All right. We're going to move over to college hoops a little bit. The Baylor Bears, now ranked number 1, they are 9-0, and they just held Villanova last weekend to 36 points. My question to you, Kenny, will they win it all again and go back to back?
Early to say, but I would, if you told me I had to make a projection now, I'll say, yeah, they're playing defense.
Sis, Baylor go back to back right now?
It's too early to tell, but I'm going to say no for the show.
I would agree with you. I'm going to say no. Paul, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll echo you guys. Too early, but I would say no.
All right. Right now, Kenny, you had a vote. Who's your MVP, Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers.
Sis?
Tom Brady.
Paul, you got to break the tie.
I picked the Packers to go to the Super Bowl. I'm gonna say AR.
Okay. The Knicks are struggling. Our Knicks are struggling. They're in trouble. Eddie's probably laughing as a Net fan, but it's not good. Kenny, give me one Knick that has to go Eddie's saying the real A-Rod's the MVP. Give me one Nick that has to go, and give me a player you want the Knicks to go get.
A player that has to go, I think, would be has to go. You're saying definitely has to be traded.
Eddie's saying Kemba has to go.
That would be my top choice because Fournier is the other one, but I'll say Kemba.
All right,
And who I want is going to be tough to get. Damian Lillard.
I'm going to say Fournier. I just think he doesn't mix, and I don't think so. Eddie's saying, and I think the Knicks should go after John Wall if he's bought out. I like that. Sis, give me a Knick that has to go.
Yeah, they stole the thunder with Kemba, and I would agree with you for 40. Yep.
Mr. Rosen.
I'm going to shock you when I say this, Randall. I think he is.
You didn't shock me, Paul. That's Kenny's boy, but I'll get rid of him.
He is so up and down in my mind.
Yep.
I just think if they could get something for him, I would get rid of him tomorrow.
Me too. And who has to go? Oh, I'm sorry. And any player that you specifically would like the Knicks to get?
Obviously, Lillard. I had that on my list, on my Christmas sports miss list. But number 2 on my list was a guy that you'll probably be shocked again, Ben Simmons. If they could swing and get someone like Simmons, who's only 23, and maybe get his head straight, I mean, he'd add so much to that team.
Good call. All right. 1 to 10. 1 being good, 10 being bad. Kenny, right now, how's your Christmas shopping going?
5.
Mine's wow. Mine's probably a 2. Sis, how about you?
-1.
Paul, you're gonna be on this K&K team. Are you gonna be the one that's gonna say at least a 7 or 8?
I'm gonna say a 10.
Whoa, there you go. Okay.
Yeah, no, we did a lot of shopping. We do it online. The Miami game was sort of our trip.
Smart.
So 10.
Very smart. All right, I'm gonna switch this one up, Kenny. I think this one's interesting because I want to hear. This is a tough one. We've watched both of these, so I think we could both answer. Eddie's saying kids are all shopped for, so I'm good. Amazon is a beautiful thing this time of year. LOL. Who was the better dynasty that we watched? Geno's UConn women or Saban's Alabama football, Kenny?
From what I personally watched, I watched more football. So just from me personally, I would say Saban's Alabama football team. But I'm sure other people's answers would be different, and rightfully so with Geno. But I'm going to say Saban from what I personally watched more of.
Yeah, see, I'm going to go Geno just for the fact, I mean, they're both unbelievable dynasties, but the only reason they were so dominant, it was like, as good as Alabama was, you still had struggles here and there. You had to get through the SEC. You had to play an SEC championship. You had to, you look. I mean, UConn was just like, 32-0, 32-0, blowing teams out by 70. So that's why I would say UConn. Caleb Davis, Saban is the greatest coach in college history. Thank you, Caleb, for answering. Thank you. Hello, how are you, Caleb?
Check out our friend Caleb. He was on with us last week. Rocky Mountain Sports Network. College Collision is his show. Does a great job there talking college sports, especially football and basketball.
Sis, better dynasty you've seen? Saban and Bama? Geno and UConn women?
Oh, excuse me. I go back to obviously the Bear Bryant days. So all those championships and everything. And I echo what's his name just said. Saban by far is the best college coach ever. So I'll say Alabama.
Okay. Paul?
I would say Alabama, but if you want to sort of do a different sort of comparison, compare Geno's UConn to the UCLA teams back in the
John
late 60s.
Wooden, right?
Wooden, when they won, 88 straight games and dominated college basketball. So that might be something, that would be an interesting question.
Talking about basketball, Eddie Murphy saying, you think anyone had Rutgers beating Purdue? What a shot to win that game. If you guys saw a buzzer beater, half court, and the people in Rutgers were going nuts. I got two more, guys. Today, Dion Sanders, the head coach of Jackson State, flipped Travis Hunter, the number 2 prospect from Florida State to Jackson State. It's the first time an FCS school signed a top 5 prospect. My question to you, Kenny, does this change the way the game of recruiting going forward?
Yes and no, if I can answer it both ways, because the bigger schools like Alabama, Michigan, et cetera, are going to be able to do more recruiting and have more money to recruit. So, but you may see high-profile coaches, Dion Sanders, Hall of Famer, coach in Jackson State. You may see more smaller schools try and take that approach to get the kids to come play. So, yes and no, in my opinion, if I can answer it both ways.
Sis, what about you? Number 2 player in the country going to an FCS school, Jackson State. Does it change? Does it change recruiting going forward?
Oh, absolutely. This transfer protocol that they opened up a can of worms with this, man. This is going to really get ugly as we get into today was the official signing of the high school kids into the colleges. And, again, real quick, you got kids committing to USC and Alabama and Ohio State. By the summertime, these kids will be turning around and saying, you know what, I changed my mind. I want to go to Texas. So I think this is the worst rule they ever put in college football.
Okay. Eddie's saying, who wouldn't want to play for prime time? Seems like a fun dude to be around and probably a great teacher. Paul, what about you? Does this high-ranking profile player go into I'm not even saying a small school, an FCS school, does it change recruiting going forward at all?
Yeah, I agree with Sis. It opens up the Pandora's box of what every small college can attempt to do now. I think especially, and I think we've seen other schools, you have student athletes going to schools where other student athletes have gone. And I think this just sort of, parts the Red Sea for someone else to go there, and then another one and another one. And they say, hey, if Dion's getting all these good players, I'm going to go there too. So yep. I think it opens up on many, many levels.
I'm sorry, I have 2 more, Kenny. Number 1, the Arizona Cardinals, again, imploded at home on Monday night. My question, do you trust Arizona in the playoffs, Kenny?
No.
Sis, do you trust the Cardinals in the playoffs?
No.
Paul?
One and done. They get in, maybe they win the first game, but after that, they'll be with the big boys.
All right, and my last one. I want to hear your best one of these. Mr. Kenny, you go first, but I want to hear your best. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas. Mr. Kirkpatrick.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
Mr. Siciliano.
Ho, 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 Santa's a ho.
And Mr. Paul Rosen, you're not going to top that one.
I was going to say, I have to follow that?
You got to follow that.
Well, I knew you were going to ask that wearing this today. So.
There you go.
Ho, 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 Merry Christmas.
That's good.
There you go.
That's the best one.
Eddie Murphy saying Hopkins out for the year, and Eddie saying LOL sis. No, that was good, Paul. You won that one. I don't want to know. I don't know what category we could put Sis's in. Mark Calderio is just joining us, saying good evening, guys. And Sis, I know you wanted to mention something tonight.
Yeah,
Mark.
Congratulations to your son. That's an awesome awesome award for a freshman kid beating out a sophomore. And I wish him nothing but the best. And I hope you can act civilized in the stands and not be one of these fathers, my kid, my kid, my kid. And I mean that in a very respectful way, but good luck to you and your family.
Yes,
That's
absolutely,
right.
Mark.
Absolutely.
Congratulations. And again, we're going to talk. Hopefully, we can get Mark's going to get us maybe a little connection over there with the wrestling team. We'll get him on the high school show, guys. So that's what we're going to work with Mark. But congratulations to Mark and your son. But Kenny, that concludes my quick hitters for tonight.
Well, we ain't concluding anything else because you do this to us each week. We need to hear your best ho ho ho.
Oh, I just
Merry Christmas.
ho ho ho, Merry Christmas.
All right, now
Not
we
bad.
can continue the show.
Okay, there you go.
All right, so let's move into some. I know Sis's mind's coming up, but why don't we stick with college football? Couple
Yep.
stories through the week.
Yep.
The first one, I'll start with Sis. Heisman Trophy, Sis. The award was Saturday. After we got to see the Army Navy game, and hats off to. I don't know if you guys all watched the game.
Yeah, I
but
did. Yep.
Hats off for an amazing game one, and for the job they did on those uniforms. Those
Yes.
uniforms just still giving me chills just watching the job they did on those Navy uniforms and the Army uniforms with the camouflage. Amazing job. But Sis, the question I want to ask is, your thoughts on the Heisman Trophy. You're one of your Alabama
Well, again,
boys got it.
people are going to say I'm biased, but guess what? You tell me another player in the country that deserved it over this kid, whether he played for Alabama or Oklahoma. You just can't do it. It's a well-deserved honor. You can tell by the kid's parents. You could tell the way he was brought up, and I wish the kid nothing but the best in the bowl games. Yep.
And you know what? Sis, you nailed it early. With Saban, we talk about coaches being father figures. Saban's probably a father figure to a lot of these kids that he's coaching there in Alabama.
No
So,
doubt.
last year, Devontae Smith, we see the type of kid he is with his cousin Amari coming on the show with us. And,
Yep.
how respectful that family is. And now you're seeing it with Bryce Young. So, well said.
Absolutely.
Kurt, what was your thoughts on the Heisman Trophy?
I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if they said it was going to be one of the biggest landslides. Was it the highest one or it didn't? I don't know if it did or not.
Well, let's put it this way. He got 684 votes. The second closest was the kid from Michigan. He had 87. So I would say, yeah, it was.
Yeah, you know what I like? I like when they give it to somebody who's in the college football playoff and is winning games. I like it that it's the Michigan kid came second, the Ohio, and again, the best, the most impressive thing this year again in college football. I'm sorry, is when Bryce Young goes 93 yards in the Iron Bowl when they're down 7, and he takes them there in a raucous crowd against your rival and one of the biggest rivals, and it's when he won the Heisman.
Absolutely.
He deserves the
I agree.
Heisman. He's been the best player all year on a good team. I just don't look at, okay, this guy threw 82 touchdowns and their record's 2-9. I mean, that doesn't do anything. This guy, came from, he sat behind Jones, took the reins over and did a great job. And he's the best player in college football. I mean, I think he's been from start to finish. And I think he should have won it. Eddie Murphy saying Giants tank next year and get Young in the 2023 draft.
Yeah, we're gonna get into that quarterback wish list later, Eddie. So I think you're gonna like what I got to say. So, Paul, what are your thoughts on the Heisman?
Yeah, I mean, and Sis, I think you would agree. This kid had to take the place of Mac Jones. They win the national championship last year. The prep, literally day one, for this kid to start at Alabama was overwhelming.
No doubt.
He just fit in so nicely. He did it from the first game to the last game, as Kurt mentioned in the Iron Bowl. When the chips were down, he led that drive. So without a doubt, the most consistent college player the whole season, well-deserved.
Well, again, real quick, with this protocol change, do you realize this kid was a millionaire before he
Yes.
even took a snap this summer?
Yeah.
So again, it goes to show you the more so the kid's a millionaire. He could have been so cocky but no, his parents again, they kept it in perspective. And I take my hat off to a kid at 18 years old, 19 years old. So, yep.
By the way, sis, Mark saying thank you, sis. I appreciate the comments about bringing up his son.
Absolutely.
Definitely, Mark. And I'm echoing Sis's words. Wish him the best of luck there at Farallon High this year. Be following his season for sure. I'm upset with one thing, fellas, in this Heisman Trophy thing here. And I'm going to speak on behalf of our friend and co-host Carson, who's on our Thursday show. Bryce Young, 1,000,000% deserved to be the Heisman. I'm not upset about that. I'm not upset about him landsliding because he deserved it. But I thought this award is for best player, one, and, most deserving. Bryce Young deserving, but somebody who should have been at that ceremony, in my opinion, was Kenny Walker III from Michigan State. Where would that team be this year without him?
That's a good point.
I can easily say five. I can easily say 5 losses. And against Michigan, against Hutchinson, 5 touchdowns. Ran all over him.
You're right.
Good point.
Michigan would still be there without Hutchinson. I think Ohio State would still be there without Stroud. Alabama, I don't think would be as good as they were with Young, and I don't think Pitt would be as good with Pickett. So both of them, and take Hutchinson or Stroud out, and Walker should at least been invited, in my opinion. Because if that's the type of award this is going to be, the Heisman, best player, it's also an MVP player type thing. And Kenny Walker represented an MVP type season, Heisman type season with Michigan State. So I think they left him out. You can't put everybody in there, but I think they should have at least invited him to the ceremony.
We got a what if question, sis, and from Eddie. First, he's saying, I don't watch much college football, but it amazes me how these top schools can have 3 QBs who can probably start any team in the nation. His question, sis, though, is, would Young have got the Heisman Trophy if Bama lost to Georgia? Just curious. Do you think that award was his regardless what happened in that SEC championship game, sis?
My own opinion, yeah, because he won it, and like we talked about, me and you, he didn't win that in the Georgia game. He won that in the Auburn game.
Yeah.
So taking a step back to answer his question, absolutely.
Okay.
And see, I agree with Sis with Bryce Young, but I do believe Kenny Walker wasn't invited because of the whole team's performance against Ohio State. But you look at his other games, like I said, the Michigan game, 5 touchdowns against that defense, Mr. Hutchinson.
Yeah.
So that was my first college thing.
You know, they can only invite 4 guys, man. I mean,
I get it. I know.
People were crying that Will Anderson wasn't invited. Now, to me, the kid's a sophomore,
right?
So he didn't care that he wasn't invited. He's a team player. He won some other award.
No,
see, that's why again, Bama has the type of program they have because it's no me guy and there's no selfishness in that program, and that comes from Mr. Saban. That's where it starts.
No, it's just I agree with you 1,000,000%. And Kenny Walker's not complaining. I'm sticking up for the kid for not.
No, you have every right to, because the kid's a tremendous back. I agree with you 100%.
You know what? Maybe they need to change it and say, you know what? There's 8 deserving players. Let's invite all 8 to New York.
But
you know why?
They could do that.
Why is it 4 and that's it?
You know what? I want to just play devil's advocate on that, Kenny, because. Sure. And I know we're going to get into this later on, but I heard somebody say this the other day, and it might have been, it was Bear. It was our friend Bear who's been on the show with us, Chris Felica, right? And he said, I don't want to hear this anymore. And I couldn't agree with him more. I said, I said, you can't disagree with what he said. But by the way, Kenny Walker against Ohio State, 6 carries, 25 yards. 1 catch, 4 yards.
That's what I'm saying. That game, I know as one bad game, but also look at his stats against Michigan, who's in the playoff.
I know, but that one game,
I get it.
Exactly.
But my
how
point,
about
though, is
Bryce Young's loss, though? Just throwing devil's advocate back at you. Like, what about Bryce Young's loss to Texas A&M?
but again, it's not about a loss. But in that game, though, what did
Oh,
you
I get it. I get what you're saying. I 100% understand what
You
you're
know,
saying.
let me. But my point, getting where you're saying the 8, right? And I listen to his podcast every week. It's awesome. It's Stanford Steve and the Bear. They're phenomenal. And he came out and he just said, I don't want to hear this anymore about moving to an 8 playoff game, because he said you wouldn't have Alabama having to beat Auburn and Georgia to get in. You wouldn't have the excitement of, Michigan. Like, those teams would just get in. Like, Alabama would be a lock to get in. Ohio State would be a lock. Michigan would be a lock, And he said the 4 teams that should be in are in. There's no way anybody could really turn around and say we should be in this playoff, because if you are, you're watering down the playoff. And I totally agree with him. I love the fact that I was the one advocating and saying, hey, if Alabama loses a close game, they're out from Georgia. I mean, they should still be in, right? But the consensus was, if Alabama lost, they're out. And that's what puts that game, all right, we have to watch Alabama, Georgia, because it means something. If you're going to have 8 teams, they're in. That game means nothing. So
let me play devil's advocate. Let's look at March Madness. They used to only have 16 teams. Then they went to 32. Then they went to 64. Nobody complains that there's 64 teams now. In fact, they probably would even want more. It's
right.
More excitement. So, do I think they should be 8 teams? Maybe. Maybe there should be. Maybe my Notre Dame team would be in there with the possibility. But you never hear anyone complaining about college basketball if there's too many teams in the tournament. If anything, people run to watch them all the time.
Right. Now, real quick, guys, Carson saying, have a good show tonight, boys. Thank you, Carson.
You too, Carson. Check Carson out on Ticket Time. Ticket Time YT on Twitch tonight, 8:30 p.m.
But I guess my only point, though, is, see, here's the thing, and I always argue this with Jen. And Kenny, I argued, and Sis, it too, because we got into it with UVA. The Big East Championship and the ACC in basketball, those games are kind of watered down a little, because it's like UVA lost the ACC Championship. They're still a 1 seed. Like, or UVA lost in the first round of an ACC Championship game, but they're still in the tournament. That's what makes college football. You're at the edge where Alabama has to beat Georgia. If Alabama lost to Auburn, they're done. They got to go 93 yards. They're the best team in the country, but they would have been out. That's why I think it makes the games, even somebody like Cincinnati. Cincinnati could not lose 1 game. They had to go undefeated or they were done, and they went undefeated. And I think the committee got the 4 teams in. There's nobody that could really turn around. Who could turn around? Is Baylor really going to turn around and say we should be in that tournament? No.
Not with 2 losses.
Notre Dame can't, because the team ahead of them beat them head up.
Yeah.
So that's what, that's what made that Cincinnati Notre Dame game really matter, is that was a playoff game. Ohio State was a playoff game. And Michigan beats them, Ohio State's out. If there was 8 teams in, Ohio State would be in.
Yeah.
So that game, what does that game mean, that rivalry weekend? So
good point.
Stephen Waldman saying Michigan versus Bama national game. He's picking Michigan, Sis, over your Bama, Stephen.
Michigan's got a shot.
Well, they got to get by. They got to get by Georgia first, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Eddie's saying, if Bama would have lost, what team is really capable to take their spot without getting them? That's the problem. Like, if Bama would have lost, and that's what I've said all year. Okay, Baylor's going to jump them. Notre Dame, I just think Alabama blows those teams out. So I don't know. I like that it was state 4. I just like the 4 factor, because the games matter.
What if Bama lost? It would have been between Notre Dame and Alabama for the 4th spot, in my opinion. I think Cincinnati would have moved up to 3.
Yeah.
Then it would have come down, because Oklahoma State lost. So, the four teams that are in deserve to be in.
Right.
Notre Dame's sitting at 5. Who would it have been? Notre Dame, Alabama would have been the argument.
Right.
I'm gonna skip my next question because I think that has to do with part of what's on Sis's mind. So I'm just gonna jump ahead and ask Kurt first, and then I'll go Paul and Sis. Besides the college football playoff, Kurt, give me a bowl game you're looking forward to this college bowl season. Watching the most as a game, as a whole game. Not just a fan. You could say Auburn as a fan, but a game that you really want to see as a person who's not rooting for either team. Like
Ohio State, Utah. First time Utah's in a Rose Bowl. I want to see the people there, and I want to see the style of just running the football down Ohio State's throat. And if Utah can stop that, the air attack of, Ohio State's the better team. But I think it's going to be like a home game. I think Utah, these people are they're going to go in their first Rose Bowl. So I'll take that game.
You know what? I'll go next. And if I could think of something else later on, because you stole my thunder, Kurt, I want to see Ohio State, Utah, because Utah's my sleeper team in 2022. They're very young. And I think, like you just said, first time Rose Bowl, they are going to be fired up. I'm curious to see them, and I want to see them not only play this game tough against Ohio State, but pull off the upset against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl. Paul.
Let me just answer your question. Is Kelly coaching LSU in the bowl game?
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay. Obviously, my Notre Dame team in the Fiesta Bowl. But I think an interesting game could be the Michigan State-Pittsburgh game. Pickett has been slowly creeping up mock drafts, and I've been reading a lot about him. And obviously, Michigan State has your player, Kenny. I think it could be a pretty good, interesting matchup. And I'd be interested to see what Pickett can do against a fairly decent.
There's a big question mark. It's a rumor. He might cop out, but as of now,
really?
Right, he might opt out. Yes,
he might opt out.
Okay.
Yep. I use the word cop out.
Yeah, not play, basically.
Exactly.
By the way, Joey Clams is chiming in. He's saying Ohio State travels great to the Rose Bowl. So that's going to be interesting because they do. They do. It's just, I think Utah with this whole, first time there. So that's going to be a great game. Eddie Murphy, and I agree with him on this one, saying, I want to see Notre Dame win just to kind of stick it to Kelly for leaving like he did.
Believe me, I want that to happen too.
What's up, Joey Clams? Joey Clams, we'll probably see you tomorrow, hopefully. Hope all's well. And Sis, who are you looking forward to seeing?
Yeah, I agree with Paul. I want to see Notre Dame win just to put it right in Kelly's boo-boo. Yep. That's the game I want to watch.
I think one other one I would like to, that I'm curious to see, because I've really become a fan of this team in the last couple of weeks, Baylor. I want to see Baylor against Ole Miss. I want to see how we talk about teams not having defense, but this team does have a defense in the Big 12, and I want to see them against Lane Kiffin's offense. So I'm curious. That'd be another one I'd want to see.
Okay.
Any other games, guys?
It's another interesting game, because at the beginning of the year, if you would have said this matchup, you would have probably said it was in the playoffs. Oregon against Oklahoma.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I thought you were going to say Clemson, Iowa State, because those were two of Kurt's playoff teams.
That's the Kurt Valenti Bowl.
The Kurt Valenti Bowl. That's right. Kurt, Sis, any other games you're really looking forward to?
Who's playing in the Yankee Stadium Bowl?
Yeah,
who's that?
Vatech against Maryland.
Okay.
That's all right. That'll be a good game.
That'll be a good one. Another one, Kenny, I did see one more I wanted to. Well, you said the Baylor one, right?
Yeah.
Clemson,
Iowa State, I'd want to see.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. I hope Hoops isn't watching this one. You want to play this? It's Wednesday, the 29th, 11 a.m. Just SMU and Virginia. I bet you they're not even having any defensive practice. Just offense, run up the field. Just Virginia's defense is bad, and SMU, I don't even think practices defense. They're so bad, both of those teams.
Yeah, some bowl games that looking forward to.
Yeah.
All right. I think, like I said, I don't want to talk about my other topic because I think it's going to have to do what's on Sis's mind, and if not, I'll bring it up at the end of Sis's segment. But let's move on to what's on Sis's mind. Unless you guys have something else college football you want to talk about. Yep.
We're good.
All right,
No.
Sis, you are up, my friend.
Yeah, we're talking. We're going to talk about the protocol tonight a little bit, and I'm very against this. I think this is going to put a major spin in a bad way on college football. I think it's going to put a bad spin on rivalry games. These kids are almost like free agents now. They'll be able to make as much money as you want if you come to my school. The only difference is with the pro free agency, you got a contract. With the college, there is no contract. And just to give you an example, I was watching a Paul Feinberg show early in the week. One of Lane Kiffin's players mispracticed on Monday to go visit another program. Now, if I'm Lane Kiffin, that kid wouldn't even see the field. I don't care who he is. You don't come to practice to solidify your own, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that term, when I heard that, man, I almost fell off the couch. But yeah, he said, this is what it's coming to. This is what it's coming to. Again, Kurt, you want to come to Mississippi? We're only going to give you 100,000. Kurt, come to Miami. We'll give you 200. And this is you're not even recruiting kids anymore. It's a money war is what you're going against. And like I said earlier, okay, I'm going to come to your school. It's December 15th. I committed. Come July, 100 people were in his ear. You know what? I'm not going there. I want to go to Ohio State now. Let me tell my daddy to call the coach up. And it's really, really a turnoff as far as I'm concerned. The endorsements, we all knew that was coming. There's not much you can do about that. I can live with the endorsements. I can't live with this. I'm leaving Texas and I'm going to Auburn, but because everybody the other day when Bigsby said he wasn't going, all I saw was he's headed to Alabama. He's headed to Alabama. Now that's not necessarily so. Even if the kid stuck to his guns, maybe he wouldn't have went to Alabama. I'm not saying I wouldn't want the kid at Alabama because I'd be lying if I told you that. But again, when these kids do opt out, they're not going to Montclair State. They're going to they're going to the cream of the crop programs. You know what I mean? They're not going to go play for Washington State or Kansas State. They're going to want to go where they, again, repeating myself, where you can make some big dollars. And, again, I really think it's going to crush the whole college playoff system. And that's basically what's on my mind tonight. And I really, again, I'm old school, man. If you make a commitment, it's like my father used to say, what are you going out for? Okay. You're not quitting. You're staying with it at least 1 year, because I wanted to quit wrestling. As soon as I went out, my sophomore year, I was about 150 pounds, whatever. The guy's like, oh, you got to lose 10 pounds. I said, I don't want to lose 10 pounds. I want to bulk up for football. I went home, my old man said, you'll stay out for the season. And that's a commitment, and I think they've gotten away from it. I really believe they've gotten away from it. So that pretty much wraps up what's on Sis's mind tonight.
All right, Sis, can I ask you a question all about it?
I wanted to play
I did
a
too.
devil's advocate on it too.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. Just come at me hot and heavy.
You pick the order, Sis, who you want to go first.
You go first.
Well, mine's not really a question. Mine's more of a comment. I'm not disagreeing with you. It depends on the circumstances. Meaning, the leader of your team, who's in charge of your team, the head coach, that's the person who's in charge of your team, correct?
I know where you're going, but go ahead, because I left it out.
They're allowing coaches to leave.
Yep.
Exactly.
Kelly at Notre Dame, not Lane Kiffin, Lincoln Riley, the USC, yada, yada, yada. These coaches are allowed to leave.
Right.
Why can't their players follow in their footsteps. You're following the leader. You're following the leader.
Great.
The other one I wanted to bring up is Spencer Rattler, Oklahoma, benched. You go to college to try and get into the pros. He was a highly recruited quarterback, top rated
3 years
quarterback.
ago. Yep.
And he got benched this year at Oklahoma and, pushed away. So now he transferred to South Carolina. I'm okay with that, trying to better himself into a different program, different conference, different part of the country to try and better himself and get into that NFL next year as a first round pick again, where he was supposed to be a top 5 pick, fell off the map this year. So I'm okay with that type of transfer. And if they're allowing the coaches to do it during the season when you're under contract, I'm okay with the players doing it. And until they fix that, I'm going to be okay with that.
Do you think they threw Rattler a couple of dollars to go there?
Yes.
Sure, just like Jackson State,
you.
just like
As
the
soon as
Jackson State kid, just
Thank
like
you.
the kid from Florida State went to Jackson State. He didn't go to Jackson State just because Dion Sanders was there.
Right.
Jackson State threw him some money.
So that's what we're
That
talking
the
about.
family
tonight.
probably, not
It's
just
all
joking aside.
about money.
Now,
That's what you're
now
talking
Eddie
about.
Murphy has a good point. He's saying there's no reason these college athletes should be making this money. Yeah, if you want to help them pay for clothes and food, etc., but they don't need to be making millions at 18 years old.
They're getting their tuition paid. They're getting books. They're getting meal money. So they are being compensated. And I agree with Eddie. No 18, 19-year-old kid should be walking around with $1 million in his bank account.
But you know
You
what,
know what?
sis? I agree with
My
sis.
last thing, Kurt, my last thing was there was a movie years ago, Nick Nolte, Blue
Yep.
Chips. Wasn't allowed back then, but now that movie, it's allowed. So these millionaire boosters are handing the school money. Go get this kid.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
It's legal. Now it's legal.
But sis,
Yep.
you know what though? I agree with Kenny, and I don't know if Paul's gonna go the same way, but this is the reality situation, okay? Like I'm the coach, say at Oregon. Okay? I'm the coach at Oregon. I recruit sis. I really don't like Paul as a player, so I'm not gonna recruit him. Paul goes to Pittsburgh. I'm done with Oregon. I'm going to Pittsburgh. Well, I can go wherever I want, but Paul now has to stay. He knows I don't like him. I didn't recruit him. I didn't want him. But now I go to Pittsburgh. He's stuck there? Why? He went to Pitt because maybe he didn't want to play for me. And he wanted to play for somebody else. So like Kenny's saying, sis, if you're going to allow Riley to go here and Kelly to go there and this guy's going there and it's just they're breaking contracts. You know what? I'm sorry. If they're able to break it as a student, hey, you know what? I wanted to go to I'm not going to LSU. I didn't go to play for Kelly. I'm getting the hell out of He's coming in. I'm going out and I'm going to Boston College. That's what I think is fair.
Yeah, again, you're right. I agree with Kenny too. Coaches could do it, then that's what I'm saying. That's where your can of worms is open. Both ends.
And I'm with you, though,
Both
sis,
ends.
that it's wrong. I'm with you that it's wrong. But until they fix that coaching thing, you got to allow the kids to move too.
But again, they're never going to fix it. How are they going to fix it?
But you know what? And I'll end on this one. But you know where the problem is? The problem is at the pro level, because we watch it every year. James Harden, Max Steele, 6 years, $100 million. Then he turns around, I'm not playing for Houston anymore. You know what? That's your contract. Like when Lincoln Riley signs a 30-year contract at Oklahoma, he should be locked in for 30 years until Oklahoma says, no, you're not our coach.
Yep.
I'm going to get out of for what is that? It's the same thing in the NBA, though.
You know,
got
And
these
on top
players.
of it, Kurt, I'm sorry, Paul.
if I could just interject, this reminds me a little bit of employment where, the phrase, employment at will, where you're not unionized, but you work for an employer and you have the right to leave, or they have the right to get rid of you, terminate you, or and that's what this reminds me of a little bit, where these athletes are going to schools and then all of a sudden they're deciding, well, I don't want to stay here anymore. I'm going to go there because the enticement, whether it's a better opportunity to go to the pros, maybe money, booster money, maybe an opportunity to play better competition, who knows? But the reality is, as you were saying, the coaches are doing it. So why aren't they allowed to do it?
Right.
And allowing it during the season. During bowl season is when all these coaches jump ship.
You brought up a great point. I go work for Sears and Roebuck's. I don't like my boss. I'm going to quit. I'm going to go to. So what are you teaching these kids?
Yeah.
What are you teaching these kids?
Right. And I'll add one more thing. I read a story the other day. These maybe the two top high school basketball players in New York City.
Right.
These deals already where they're making close to $1 million.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, do they have agents? Are agents allowed to represent these kids at this point?
Why would you need an agent? I wouldn't want to pay an agent if I could do it myself.
Well,
you know what I mean? That's a great question. I get where you're coming from, but yeah, you know.
I got Eddie Murphy saying next you're going to see colleges being able to trade for student athletes. LOL. Joey Clams is chiming in. He wants he says you have to be careful with the college meal plan. You know, I'm just going to say this, that I don't know. I don't believe the only thing I disagree with that is, like, I understand what you're saying, fill your commitment and stuff like that, but you know, listen, if you're not a student athlete, if you're just a student, okay, I'm going to go to Montclair State. I don't like it after a year. I'm going to go to, you know, William Patterson. Like, I don't have to sit out and, like, you just might not like it. You know, it could be you go and you work. I work in Macy's. I don't like this. I'm gonna go work for Nordstrom. Or, you know, like, I don't think, you know, that. Listen, it's first off, you're getting like suckered in and lured by, like, think about the people who you're talking to, like, who's saying it. You have a guy like Brian Kelly selling you. How truthful is that guy? He's going one day. He's saying Notre Dame, go Notre Dame. He's in the recruit's house saying, "Hey, go Irish. You got to come here on the phone." He's talking to LSU. So it's like suckers. You're getting these guys who aren't even honest people recruiting you. So now, okay, I got lured in by Lincoln Riley to go to Oklahoma. He's gone. Like, I shouldn't have to stay there. I should be able to go, you know what? You're gone. I'm gone. So
Kelly's in New York selling the hard pretzels for $5 a piece, telling you, they're soft. Don't worry about it. And you walk away and your teeth fall out.
Right. But Kenny's right. It's that they should not be. If you have just like they're saying, you sign a 10-year deal, that you're, for those 10 years, you're the property of Notre Dame. Yep. That's it.
Years ago, that was the bond.
That's it.
Yep. Ain't no more.
That's it. Nope. And then you know what? Listen, the only one that can get out of their contract is Aaron Rodgers. If he wants to come to Denver, we let him come to Denver. That's it.
You just segued right into NFL, my friend. You just segued right in. Anything else about this, though? All joking aside, guys?
No, it's a big topic, sis. It's a great topic. You know, it is.
Thank you.
You know, I mean, it does make it interesting, though, with like these transfers, who's coming in, who's coming. It does make it spice it up a little bit, because just like they're saying, like, you know, it's kind of like NFL free agent, right? Like last year, these 10 teams are good. Now, those 10 teams free agency, you might have 10 new teams. It's kind of like that in college football now, because it's like, okay, he's going to start. Now, no. Now you're leaving. This quarterback's leaving here, going there. They could be a better team next year. So,
my thing is, Ohio State calls Urban Meyer. We want you to be the coach. He's got to get fired at Jacksonville first before he.
That might not be a problem,
State. Right. But you know, Jacksonville's got to fire him first. Like, why are they allowed to do it in college? Is my question.
If he keeps kicking players, he might be fired.
He's done.
We got a couple questions, guys. Eddie Murphy saying what topics of Sis aren't great. So he's saying he loves all.
That's
of
a nice
Sis's
compliment.
comments.
Thank you.
That is, I don't think he's ever had a bad one. Eddie.
And Beelan is asking, saying, is Kenny interviewing for the Giants head coaching spot? I guess with the headphones.
Yeah, I think I do a better job than Judge.
But I want you to read. I want to read something real quick because there is some not breaking news. Let me see if I could find it. Hold on one second. Eddie's laughing. Let me see if I could find it. But it was really about. I wish I read it because Sis would kind of like it. I can't find it, but they're saying there's a report out that. Oh, here it is. Sis, you're gonna get a kick of this. Former Jaguar kicker Josh Lambo alleged that head coach Urban Meyer kicked him in the leg while stretching in warm-ups before a practice during the week of the final preseason game, according to a report. Lambo said Meyer told him, quote unquote, "Hey, dip blank, make your effing kicks," and then kicked him in the leg. Lambo characterized the kick as a 5 out of 10 and told the Tampa Bay Times he told Meyer, "Don't you ever effing kick me again." Lambo said, Meyer told him, "I'm the head ball coach. I'll kick you whenever the F I want."
I would have got up and
that's what I was.
That kid.
That's what I was referring to.
That's it. That's crazy.
I would have punched him into next week.
That's crazy.
Well, let's segue into the NFL.
Okay.
Guys, come on. We got about 35 minutes left, so I was going to do NFC, AFC, but let's just do AFC this week. We're in what, week 15? And there's 13 teams still with a realistic shot, like not just a shot at the playoffs, but a good shot at making the playoffs. So I want to break down these divisions and see who's in and who's out in your guys' opinions.
Okay.
And we'll start with Paul. We'll do the AFC East first. Are we going to say the Patriots are going to be in as the conference champion there in the AFC East?
Yes.
They got a 2-game lead on Buffalo. Okay,
Yes.
And then the Bills and Dolphins. Are they in, both out?
Bills, maybe. Dolphins out. I'm on
Okay.
the Bills.
We're doing the East fast because the one I want to really get into is coming up. Sis, Patriots.
Dolphins
division
are out. Bills are on roller skates.
Okay. Kurt.
Dolphins are definitely out. I'm gonna go with Buffalo does get in, but it's gonna get down to that last week.
Well, here's my bold prediction. The Patriots are in. Dolphins are going to leapfrog the Bills for second place, but both are going to be out. The AFC North is the one I really want to get into because there's 4 teams fighting for this division, and they're all right there, I believe, with 6 losses. Paul, I'll start with you again. 1, who's going to win this division? And 2, is anybody going to be in the wild card in this division?
Yeah, my sense is, well, I picked the Ravens in our preview, so I'm going to continue and go with the Ravens to win the division. I don't believe anyone else from that division is going to make the playoffs.
Let me come back at you here. Are you concerned about Lamar Jackson's injury?
Of course, absolutely.
And that doesn't change your mind that they're still going to win
at this point, I'm going to still stick with them. But of course, in the back of my mind, there's a possibility he may, it may take a few weeks for him to get back.
All right. Sis, this is a tough division. Everybody's right there with a shot at winning this division. Who's going to win the division, and is anybody going to be in the wild card here?
We're talking AFC, right?
AFC North. Ravens, Browns, Steelers, Bengals.
Yeah. I don't know. This Cincinnati team is hot and cold. Steelers, I've seen them play. It's so hard. I'm gonna have to say Ravens, even with Lamar hurt, because the other teams, now you got Mayfield with the COVID protocol, 4 other guys on the Browns. So I'm gonna say the Ravens in that division. Yep.
Okay. Kurt.
You know what? I would have went with I would have went with Cleveland, but I don't like that he's going to be missing this game this week. I think it's a must-win for Cleveland. So I'm going to take by default Baltimore. Again, I'm very disappointed in them. And, I know they had their backup last week, but that was, Cleveland put it on them. But I'll go Baltimore wins, but I'm going to put Cleveland as a wild card team.
And who does? Oh, Cleveland plays Saturday. But I'm gonna go to Browns steal this division. Even with Mayfield hurt, they got a reliable backup in Case Keenum. They're playing at home this week against the Raiders team who just got blown out by the Chiefs. Browns have, with these other three teams, well, the Steelers kind of have a little bit of one, but the Browns have the best running game out of these teams in the AFC North. And if Mayfield's out for 1 week, Lamar Jackson, that ankle's going to bother him all year. And we all agree that Ben is on his way out. And Bengals and besides that, Steelers have a real tough schedule. And the Bengals, they go into Denver this week, and that's going to be a hard game. And then they got some tough games too. So I think Cleveland's going to steal this division. In week 17, they're going to end up winning this division and getting it with their run game, and their defense shows up.
Now you guys are going to think I'm crazy, but I'll tell you this. You guys all said Big Ben's done, right? But if you said to me, out of Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow, and Ben Roethlisberger, I need to win one game, especially to get to the playoffs or in the playoffs, I'm taking Ben Roethlisberger over those guys.
Is that with a healthy Lamar Jackson or an injured Lamar Jackson?
Well, Lamar Jackson can't throw, so in the playoffs, they'll come up with a defense to take his running away, and he'll be one and done there. Baker, Burrow, I don't know. Big Ben, I'm sorry. When it comes down to the playoffs, you have to make, you're going to run the ball, play defense. You have to make, 6 throws a game. He's going to put you, he's smart. He can read the defense. He's going to put you in the right place, put or play. I'm still taking Big Ben over those guys. I'm not a fan of any of those guys.
See, Kurt, the only problem I have with Pittsburgh is their schedule. I'm looking at it right now. Listen to these last 4 games. Tennessee, at Kansas City, Cleveland, at Baltimore. That's the problem I have with Pittsburgh. But I agree with you. If they do get in, I have more confidence in him than the other 4 guys.
Yep.
I do. Let's move on to an easy one, Paul. Colts, Titans. Titans win the division.
Titans win the division. I'm going to say the Colts will get in. I'm looking at their schedule. They could probably go 3-1 the rest of the year. The only hard game is the Patriots, but that's at home. But they play the Cardinals that have been up and down. They play the Raiders, and they finish the season against the Jaguars. So that's going to be an easy win. So they could conceivably go 3-1. I think that gets them in the playoffs.
Kenny, Joey Clams is saying great point about Ben Roethlisberger to me. So,
yeah, it was, Kurt.
I know.
It was. Sis, how about you? You agree?
I think the Titans win it. The problem with the Colts is Wentz. He could go down any minute. So I don't know. I think the Colts might make it in as a wild card, maybe, but to me, they're not going too far because you can't depend on this kid. You can't.
All right, and Kurt, Titans, Colts.
I'm going to take the Titans to win the division, and I'm not going to take the Colts to get in. I'm not, okay. They're just, they have the run game. That's the one thing. They do have the run game with Jonathan Taylor, but I'm going to have them on the outs right now.
And I'm going to agree with Paul and Sis. Titans win the division, and Colts get in as a 6 or 7 seed in the wild card. They're going to rely on Jonathan Taylor like they've been in that offensive line, that run game, and I think they'll get in as a wild card. Let's move on to Kurt's AFC West. The Chiefs are on a 6-game win streak. They have a 1 big game on Thursday against the Chargers. All
Bless
four
you.
teams, God bless you,
Salute.
sis. All four teams, Paul, are realistically still alive for playoffs. Who's in? Who's out?
Chiefs win the division. I think both the Chargers and Kurt, I said this before the season began in our preview, the Broncos make the playoffs, so I'm going to stick with that. And I'm looking at the Broncos' last 4 games. You probably know it better than I do. I think they can go 3-1.
Yep. I think that's the magic number.
Yeah, I think they can sneak in. So I'm going to say Broncos sneak in.
How about it, Kurt?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Kansas City has wrapped up the division. I think they wrap it up tomorrow night. And, like Paul's saying, but I think it comes down to this week. They got Cincinnati at home, Denver. It's a must win. It's not a must win like on paper mathematically, but it's a must win because you win that game. Now you got to play. You go on the road to Vegas and you got San Diego. You got to win one of those two, and then you got Kansas City, but at home. Will Kansas City be playing that game? You're at home. I think if it comes down to a game that last week at home, I just do not think Denver will lose that. But they must win Cincinnati.
Kurt, I think they play that last game because I think they want
home field.
And the Patriots are right there, so I think they're going to be playing hard to try and get that home field advantage.
Yep, I agree. I agree. But this week's a must-win, Paul. They got to get this win versus Cincinnati.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
By the way, Paul, Eddie Murphy saying Paul getting brownie points, sucking up to the Bronco fan. LOL. Just kidding.
Oh, no. I said that from the preview.
You did.
September.
Mr. Siciliano, your thoughts on this division?
Kansas City and Mr. Teddy Bridgewater will bring the Broncos to the promised land.
No, Teddy Bridgewater ain't bringing us anywhere. Our defense and running game is.
No. He's going to put you in the playoffs. End the conversation.
I'm going to make things interesting. I'm going to go out and say the Chargers beat the Chiefs tomorrow, but the Chiefs still win this division. But it gets interesting. And Kurt, you may, because the Chiefs may not be in that hunt for that home field advantage in week 1 or the bye. So you may get that. You may get them, not resting some players that are banged up. I'm going to say the Chargers and the Broncos both make the playoffs. So I'll just recap. My division winners are going to be the Patriots, the Browns, the Titans, the Chiefs. My 3 wild cards are going to be the Colts, Chargers, and Broncos. And I think, Paul, you're very similar. But I think yours was Patriots, Ravens, Titans, Chiefs.
Yes.
And then you got the Colts, Chargers, and Broncos also.
Correct.
And Kurt, who did you have again?
I got the Pats, Baltimore, Tennessee, and Kansas City with the division. Buffalo, Cleveland, and Denver in the wild card.
And Sis, who was yours? You had the Patriots, Ravens, Titans, Chiefs, Broncos, Chargers, and Colts.
Yeah, I had the Colts making it in. Yep.
Okay.
I don't think they're going to last too long.
And my last question on this, and then we'll move to Bronco Mania, Sis. Sleeper team out of this to come out of the AFC. Not necessarily the favorite, but I don't want the favorite. I want a sleeper team out of this group that you think can make a run. Not necessarily get to the Super Bowl, but can make a serious run in the playoffs here.
Patriots.
Bengals.
What was that?
Patriots.
I'm going to go Titans. And I'm going to go to Titans are going to make it to the Super Bowl because they're getting Derrick Henry back. That's how bold I'm going to go. I'm going to go not only sleeper, but represent the AFC in the Super Bowl is the Tennessee Titans. Kurt.
Eddie Murphy breaking some news. Washington now has 18 players on the COVID list. Just added 8 more. He just got the notification.
What team is that?
Washington.
Washington.
And the Browns have how many on COVID? 6?
they got a bunch. I mean, they got their head coach, and now they got Bakers on it, so they got a bunch too.
Right.
Washington,
Right.
that's 18's a lot.
That is. Giants have 6, I think. I read today.
Yeah, yeah.
Kenny, I'm gonna go Cleveland. You know, listen, Cleveland was right there last year. They should have beat. They had Kansas City beat, and we always say run the ball, play defense. I mean, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in that cold weather, play defense. You know,
Fair enough.
and hey, just listen. Is there really a big difference between Cleveland and Denver? I mean, it's the same thing, right?
Yeah.
But I'll go Cleveland.
All right. Next week we'll do NFC and we'll do our like who's going to make it to the Super Bowl, stuff like that with the NFC. It's not as exciting in the NFC, but once you get to the top, it can be maybe we'll have some disagreements and a fun little debate. But I apologize. I wanted to do Bronco Mania first on NFL, but I apologize. I skipped over Bronco Mania, which I thought would have been, which I thought was the most important thing this week in NFL, Kurt. So my apologies. And Bronco Mania, I think I know where we want to start with Bronco Mania because I think it was Friday, right? Was it Thursday or Friday? Thursday. So our show is Wednesday, so we haven't touched on it. But I'll let you go, Kurt. Broncos lost a true legend in their family. So
yeah, what a shame. It's a little breaking news. You read the tweet on Thursday and you're like, oh my God. And put the radio on and they're talking about it. And, rest in peace, Demaryius Thomas. It's either him or Rod Smith as the best receiver in Broncos history. He was probably the more talented than Rod Smith. Rod Smith, had bigger games and playoff games and 2 Super Bowls. But, just an unbelievable talent. He's remembered for that overtime, first time that's going to be first score wins and, first touchdown. And Tebow hits him on a slant and he takes it, 75 yards against the Steelers in that wild card game. And I can still see that play. And that's probably one of the biggest ones. Hey, Super Bowl, got to 2 Super Bowls with them. I want to say in that first Super Bowl in the debacle game against Seattle, he had something like 11 or 13 catches. Big cog in the offense with Manning. They broke all kinds of records back in 2013. But they say he was such a great teammate and great with the kids and Manning's kids when they were younger loved wanting to see him and stuff like that. And Eddie Murphy saying was a freak situation. I think only 33. It shows you that tomorrow is not promised. Absolutely, Eddie. And, it's a shame, but I will say this. The Bronco organization last Sunday did a phenomenal job. The moment of silence. They put the 88 stickers on the helmets. The 88, they painted the number 88 in a circle on the sideline. The defense twice when they got turnovers, went over there, put the ball on the 88. They started the game with only 10 players in the huddle. They didn't have the X position, which he was. Cortland Sutton stood off the field. So, they had him as like the X. Fans were chanting DT throughout the game. So it was awesome. It was awesome. And listen, he's going to be missed. He was a big time. He got traded to Houston. And I think he went to New England, went to the Jets. He retired as a Bronco for a day. But, he's a Bronco. They should retire the number and put him in the Bronco Ring of Fame.
That was going to be my question for you. I hope the Broncos do the right thing and do it sooner than later.
Yep.
Don't, a lot of times they'll do these when, we're having a down year. Let's decide to retire.
Denver actually has a rule, Kenny. They actually have a rule where it has to be 5 years. The only one they ever did was Elway. They did Elway. He retired right after they won in 98 and opening night in 99. They did it for him. He's the only one. They didn't do it for Manning. They didn't do it for anybody. Their rule is 5 years. If you're out 5 years, then
I respect that rule.
The
But
Hall of
somebody
Fame.
passes away like this unexpectedly.
Yeah, maybe they might do something like that.
And he's
for
a big
Demaryius.
influence on a lot of people and a good person.
Yeah.
You should bend the rules for somebody like
Yeah.
that. And a family, that's suffering. Bend the rules and do something like that. But Paul, you have anything on Demaryius Thomas?
No, just a great player. Mhm.
Yeah, it's just sad to see some.
33 years old. Yeah. Yeah. That's a shame.
It's
Kurt,
condolence.
real quick, Kurt. Let's move on to the game. 38-10. They showed up, and good for the Broncos fans. Good for the Bronco family. Good for the players. They got the win. Like you said, he was an inspiration. Got to put on a show. 38-10. I know it was a little shaky in the first half, but let's move ahead to this upcoming week, Kurt, real quick, in a couple minutes. Your thoughts on the Broncos Bengals game this Sunday? Big game.
Yeah, Kenny, listen, again, like they were saying with the Kansas City game, it's the biggest game Broncos in 6 years since Super Bowl 50. And now they're saying, hey, this is the biggest game in Denver in 6 years, probably since that AFC Championship game against the Patriots in 2015 when they beat New England. But listen, the place is it's a playoff game. Again, it's, you're playing a team you have the same record with. So now you got to, you want to get ahead of them with tiebreakers. It's a conference game. You want to get ahead of that tiebreaker. But listen, what they did in Detroit, that's the team they are right now. They don't have the quarterback. So, hey, we want to be physical and run the ball. And I love this two-headed monster of Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams is the real deal. And I know, he should be the starter. Yeah, he's going to be the starter going forward. But I'll tell you this, that's what they're going to have to do. They're going to have to run the rock right down the throat of Cincinnati on Sunday, play defense. We're getting Bryce Callahan back. Now we got Surtain, Darby, Fuller, and Callahan. So our secondary's back. And we just got to make it to where, hey, we got to make them one-dimensional. Take Joe Mixon away. Let Burrow, let Beelan and Burrow throw it 49 times a game and go get him, Vic, and just hit him and hit him and hit him. And you don't win like that in the NFL. So just pound them, get them up on defense, run the rock, win that game, and then go on the road. Beelan saying, I bet you if you had Kirk Cousins, you would have won Sunday. LOL. Probably would have. But
Yep.
That's it. Run the ball, play defense. And listen, if we do it, we can hang with anybody in the NFL because we got a great defense and we got, an unbelievable run game. So the thing is,
agree,
can our quarterback make 4 plays a game, big plays? That's my question. It's why he won't be there next year. But for the next 4, you got to hope.
That's all. Anything else, guys, for Kurt? Bronco Mania?
Teddy Bridgewater.
Let's move on. We're gonna Paul. I know you had some questions for us that weren't Giant related. You said, I believe. So if you want to get into that, and then we'll do our Giants wish list.
Oh yeah. So it was sort of among my 12 days of sportsmas, as I called it, but. Kurt, so in terms of your quarterbacks, if you had your quarterback wish list, 3, 2, and 1, who would be your 3 quarterbacks that you wanted to find under your tree?
Is 3 the highest or 3's the low, the third?
No, the low. 3 would be the lowest.
I'm going to make it very simple. Deshaun Watson 3, Russell Wilson 2, Aaron Rodgers 1.
Okay. And what about Drew Lock? Where would he fit in at this point?
You know what? Again, I've always been a fan of Drew Lock. I just with this he has to be in a West Coast system. Beelan saying Rodgers, Wilson, and Dak for Kurt. You know what? I'm gonna be honest. We missed the boat with Drew Lock. I'm telling you, and I'm gonna give you a team. Watch Drew Lock for a team like Pittsburgh because he's going to go somewhere where they're going to coach him the right way. And I'm telling you, he's going to be a starting quarterback in the league. And we're going to look back. It's not going to matter if we get Wilson or Rodgers because we're going to be, we're going to be there. But if we don't and we get stuck with a so-so quarterback and this kid is lighting it up, we're going to kick ourselves in what. But
the interesting thing about Drew Lock in Pittsburgh, I remember when he was coming out, the Steelers were rumored at that time because obviously Ben was getting older.
Mm-hmm.
thinking of taking him. So it wouldn't be that far-fetched if he did go there. Sis, who would you like to see the Yankees go after once the lockout is over? If you could name 3 players that 3, 2, and 1, with 1 being the most sought after player, who would you like the Yankees to go after?
I know Aaron Boone's not on that list.
No, I think they got to. They definitely need to bring Rizzo back. Okay, and it's probably nobody's going to agree with this. I think you bring Gardy back because he's a team captain, and again, you got to have chemistry in these teams, and that kid is the chemistry, in my opinion, with the New York Yankees. And do they want the kid Carrera? I don't know. Do they want to get him? I don't want him, but so that would be my 3.
Couple comments. I'm sorry, real quick. Couple comments. Eddie Murphy saying for his list, I guess he's answering his Giant one. He said Wilson, Watson, and Carr. Only because I know Rodgers wouldn't want to come here, especially with our salary cap. Eddie Murphy's answering your Yankee one, Olsen or Rizzo, and Beelan saying Sis wants Freddie Freeman, not Rizzo. Eddie Murphy saying me and you, Sis, probably only Yankee fans that would take Gardy back. Bobby saying we're not on I-95. I don't know why. I put that on the Blackjack channel, so I don't know why. Bobby's got to let me know. It could be something that I'm doing. If it is, I apologize. But I thought I put it on the Blackjack YouTube channel. But go ahead, Paul. I'm sorry.
No. Kenny, so Patrick Ewing recently was just voted the greatest Knick of all time. 3, 2, and 1. How would you vote the greatest 3 Knicks?
He was voted the greatest Knick of all times.
It wasn't my
Who
vote.
was that?
The New York Post did it.
Was
Yeah.
that in the? Was that in a comic?
That was in the
book?
Post.
Okay.
I would go Ewing 2. These are just people that I've like. Who would be number 1? Gotta be.
That's so easy. It's not even funny.
There's gotta be Clyde Frazier.
Absolutely. Now you're thinking.
You know what? Just because I don't want to do 2 guys that I've never seen personally, so I'll go Frazier, Ewing, and I'll throw my guy John Starks in there, number 3.
Okay. That was me. I would have Frazier 3, Ewing 2, but Willis Reed would be my number 1 guy. I mean,
Willis Reed, yeah.
a little older. Sis, you saw Willis.
Yeah, you liked him when he limped out of the tunnel. I get it. Yep.
I mean, just that whole season, the following championship with him there, his whole Knick career was just an excellent team player. I in my mind, he's the ultimate Knick.
Real quick, Eddie Murphy saying Paul is just the messenger. Don't kill him, sis. LOL. And Beelan is bringing somebody up. He's saying Willis Reed, Clyde Frazier 2, and Bernard King 3.
Bernard's a good one.
That's a good
I
one.
love Bernard King.
That's a good one.
Bernard's a good one.
He got injured, unfortunately, right when Patrick started, and that would have been one of the most dynamic teams if he had not been injured. But
Joey Clams is just saying he's agreeing with Beelan. You have to put Bernard King in there too.
yeah.
Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Walt Frazier, Bill Bradley, Patrick Ewing, and Dave DeBusschere. That's real Knicks.
Okay.
Real Knicks.
Okay.
Yeah. Listen, you won't get an argument from me.
Thank you.
I'm curious what Kurtz would be.
You know what? I guess I gotta go Frazier because he delivered. You know what? I'm gonna go Frazier because he delivered the titles in that epic Game 7. I'm gonna go Willis because listen, he was part of that team, the whole toughness and everything, and then I'll go Ewing.
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy saying for the Nets, it's KD, KD, and KD.
That's good. That's good.
All right. Those are my other questions, Kenny.
Awesome. All right, so actually that's perfect segue into my Giants wish list for us, Paul, Sis, and Kurt. You can play along. Eddie Murphy, I know you're out there. I'd like to know what you would like to do.
Well, you know
you
what?
Already gave
you
us...
know what, Kenny? While you give wish list, I'll answer it as a Bronco fan.
Perfect. And Eddie, we got yours on the quarterback. So, Paul, your Christmas wish list Giants 3-2-1, just like you did with us. Who would you want? 3 being the bottom and 1 being the guy you really want. It could be draft. It could be anybody. It doesn't just necessarily. You can go through a trade. You can go free agent. Whatever route you want to go.
And this is the one player, if I can see the Giants.
Yes, 1 meaning the guy you want the most, and 3 being the 1, 2, 3 in that order, like top to bottom.
Can I bring back LT, Eli, and Michael Strahan?
Yeah. The three quarterbacks though. 3 quarterbacks you would.
No, I know. I'm only kidding.
Okay.
You want Teddy Bridgewater, Paul?
No.
Smart man.
I'll take Trevor Simmons. No, I won't. As crazy as this sounds, if I couldn't get Russell Wilson or even Aaron Rodgers, I might try and swing a trade for Derek Carr. He would be my number 3.
That's a good one.
Number 2 would be Aaron Rodgers, and of course Russell Wilson would be my number 1 option if I can get him at quarterback. I know I was a little reticent about making trades, trading away draft picks, but let me tell you, at this point, we got to do everything we can to improve this team, and if they can get Wilson, go out and get this guy.
You know what? Kenny? I'm going to take credit for one thing, because I think nudging Paul with go all in trade. I think I got Paul.
Yeah.
And you know what? I think I got Staffiero, and I know I got Dave Slade, because they're all give it up all. Give 4 years of picks. Give it up.
I'm gonna start inviting Giant fans to listen, because I'm burning myself out arguing with these Giant fans.
I've noticed.
Russell Wilson's overrated, and it's like, have you really watched any of these games with this guy the last 5-6 years?
If you took a survey, I would say 90% of the Giant fans do not want him, but yet they don't want Daniel Jones, so there's no solution. And
right.
Quarterbacks coming out in college this year, so who are you going to have the quarterback? The ghost of Eli.
Now, Kenny Beelan's saying if all is good and clear with Watson, the Giants should be on the top of that list. Eddie's saying, here's a funny thing. I'm in a lot of Giant fan groups. Some ding-dong said that the Giants should keep Daniel Jones but use him like a Taysom Hill type of player. That's the line of the night. Ding-dong.
Yeah. That's the line.
Eddie, do me a favor. Eddie, do me a favor. Invite that person on our show next week so I can debate him with that one.
Yeah.
That's the line of the year.
We'll put Sis on. We'll have Sis go after him on that. Sis, who are your 3 picks for quarterback if you can have them under your tree?
They should definitely go. They should go after Deshaun Watson without a doubt. Next would be Russell Wilson, and then Johnny Lojack. You guys have no idea who that is.
I know.
Paul does. Right.
Well, Sis, you may fall off the chair.
Wait. Time out. I got a bone to pick with Kenny. Give me your list again.
I didn't give you my list yet.
Okay, well, I want to hear Kenny's list, because I'm going to have a bone to pick with Kenny.
You better put on headphones when you hear my list.
Okay.
I'm going to go 1 to 3. So Russell Wilson's at the top. We all know that. Number 2, and I'm going different routes here in each one, and I'll explain why after each one. We can't make a trade. There's no really great free agent quarterbacks out there. Stay with the draft. Go get me Matt Corral. SEC quarterbacks, I'm starting to believe in. Mac Jones is doing it with the Patriots. Tua is doing pretty good in Miami. They're on a win streak.
Yep.
Give me those SEC quarterbacks. They're starting to come around. So give me Matt Corral as my number 2. And guys, don't fall off the chair when I tell you number 3, because if you get me Matt Corral, then I want number 3 as well, because Matt Corral I don't want coming in week 1 like the Jets did with Zach Wilson. I want him to sit at least half a year. So I want a reliable backup starting. Give me a guy like Mitch Trubisky.
Whoa,
I knew
whoa.
you were going to say that.
Time out.
my!
Time
I
out.
knew you were going to say
And you
that.
know why? You know why? He was a
My
number
God.
2 pick in the draft.
He
He
should
was
never
in-
have been
he was
number
with
2.
Matt Nagy.
Wow.
Nagy. We know what he's doing in Chicago. Give the guy a shot.
Beelan, first
as a
off,
backup. As a
Beelan's,
backup.
Beelan's saying the Giants can't get a paper bag from ShopRite because they have no money. If Mac Jones switched spots with Daniel Jones, he would not play the season like that. You know what, Kenny? You're a fraud. Because
here we go.
the first guy that should be, all I heard from you is, you know, you and the Colorado guys, I got a problem with Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater's a damn good quarterback. You're going to pick Mitch. You should have Teddy Bridgewater on your list then. You could take him. He wants only $20 million.
you know what?
2025.
I'll put him in a tie as number 3. You're right. I'll put him in a
no,
tie.
he should be on your list. Why don't you want him?
I agree with Kurt. I'd rather have Teddy Bridgewater than Mitch Trubisky.
But Kenny,
that's-
all year long,
For that statement, Kenny should get coal in his stock.
he should, because sis, all year long, you guys are crazy Bronco fans. Look what he does. He doesn't turn
It's
it over.
true.
And you don't want him. Well, then why?
Wow.
You have nothing, and you don't
But the
want
point
him.
I'm making, only if we get a quarterback in the draft, a backup quarterback that's not Mike Glennon, not Colt McCoy,
You know what?
Nick Foles type, Nick Foles, Mitch Trubisky, somebody that's going to push the rookie.
If somebody
Nick
watched
Foles
this,
would be a good backup quarterback.
Nick,
in
yes,
this
yes.
situation.
If
Take Troy
somebody,
Aikman out of the booth and put him on the Giants.
I'd rather have Troy Aikman than Bridgewater.
But wait.
You know what, sis?
But wait,
Kenny, if somebody watched this show all year long, they would say, that guy, Kenny Kirkpatrick, he loves Teddy Bridgewater. He wants him on the Giants. And you just had the opportunity, and you said, I don't want that garbage quarterback. Because you know.
all right, he's a 3B.
Yeah,
he's a
3B.
I'll tell you what, after him making that Trubisky comment, man,
Well, sis, you better put your headphones on for head coach.
he's gonna get a lot of hate
You
mail,
better-
boy, this week.
There's going to be you think the hate mail's out there for Mitch Trubisky? Wait till the head
Right.
coaches. Kurt, we did quarterbacks with Paul's question, so I'm not going to ask you quarterback
Okay.
again. But let's go to you first, Kurt. If Fangio's fired this year, who do you want as head coach as a Bronco fan?
Wow. That's
Or do you want me to come back to you?
no.
'Cause we
I'll
did
tell
our
you,
homework
I'll tell you,
assignments.
I'll be totally honest with you right now. And I'm dead serious when I say this. Aaron, who do you want as your head coach? You want Daniel Hackett, the offensive coordinator from Green Bay? Okay. Daniel Hackett, you're number 1.
You
All
want your
seriousness.
10-year-old? You want your 10-year-old nephew? Okay.
Whoever Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson want as the quarterback, as the head coach, that's my number 1 choice. I will.
Wait, no pun intended. He wants Jake from State Farm.
Yeah. He could take Paul. I don't care who he takes, but I am going to send everything out. I'm going to send a Facebook message out to you, to Paul, to Kenny, and to Sis when this show's over. It's a 4-minute clip. I just want you to watch it, and I just want you guys to respond to me and just be like, "Wow, I agree. I disagree." I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I will send you this. It's a tweet. It's a Twitter. So you're going to have to click on it. You'll get the link and somebody's going to talk. But
Is this on the Fraud Slayer?
no,
Did
it's
you
not
send
the
it?
fraud slayer. It's a football
Oh,
thing.
okay.
But I will. So that I'm going to be honest. That's how I'm answering it. Whoever Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson wants, that's my number 1 choice. I know there's talk of Dan Quinn. I kind of like it. I mean, you know, if he's coming with Russ, runs the defense, give me an offensive coordinator to go with him. And my third choice, you guys are going to, I mean, listen, my first choice would be Kyle Shanahan if he ever did get fired. But does Mike come out? I mean, would I would love Mike Shanahan. He wanted to come back. But Beelan's saying no chance an NFL team will sign a quarterback before a head coach. Beelan, listen to what I'm saying. If Denver's wants Aaron Rodgers, and they say to him they will not hire a head coach until they decide by him or Russ and say, "You're good with Dan. You want Daniel Hackett? Come on down."
All right, Paul, who's on your Christmas wish list for head coach? If Joe Judge, they're saying Mariners saying he's our Belichick, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that. 'Cause there's another owner there. There's another owner there, Mr. Tisch. So I don't believe. And Mr. Tisch hasn't said Joe Judge is our guy for years. So
Yeah,
I don't believe what I hear.
Just hearing those rumors has gotten me so aggravated. The idea that he thinks he's the next Belichick or
Right.
is just I mean,
He's a joke. He's a joke.
yeah, what's the eye test? I'm watching every game. I'm analyzing every game. I don't see it. What is this guy seeing that no other fan is witnessing that this guy is improving?
Right.
So he's changed nutrition plans, I read. He's gotten the Giants to practice better. Oh my God. You know what? Whose fault is that? The Giants organization prior to Judge becoming the coach? Plus, how are you going to recruit a general manager into the Giant organization? And again, I don't want to hear the idea that Kevin Abrams is even being considered, who was the assistant GM under Gettleman, even considered for the position as general manager. I mean, you might as well say, okay, the Giants next year are going to be almost as bad, if not worse. All right. My coaches would be, my first coach is a guy that's been a coach on a lot of good offenses over the years, Joe Lombardi, who's the offensive coordinator for the Chargers. I think with the type of players that the Giants could get or have on offense, I think he'd be very instrumental in improving the team from an offensive standpoint. Second would be similarly Eric Bieniemy. Granted, you have Mahomes as the quarterback there, but I think a guy like Bieniemy, who's had a number of opportunities for whatever reason, he hasn't been chosen as a head coach. I think he would fit very well, and given the opportunity, I think he would be a good coach to come in and again transfer the offense into something that they haven't had in years. My last choice is sort of like a parlay. I respect the Baltimore Ravens organization tremendously, what they do year after year. And if I could get Greg Roman and or Wink Martindale, either one of those guys, Roman
That's a good call, Paul.
Or Wink Martindale as the defensive coordinator, I would want either one of those two guys. I would go up to Baltimore and sign either one of those guys. That would be my number one choice. Roman, from an offensive standpoint, he doesn't say, okay, this is my offense and you got to run it. He's going to look at his players and say, okay, Flacco, we pass the ball. With Lamar Jackson, we're going to do what we need to do and cater my offense around his skill set. And I think that's an open-ended, open-minded coach, someone who understands the philosophy, gets it. In terms of Martindale, obviously the Ravens have had tremendous defenses for the last, 15, 20 years. And I'm not saying he's been there the whole time, but his defensive schemes have gotten the Ravens, especially in many years where the offense wasn't as good, they've gotten into the playoffs because of him. So that would be my number one choice.
Awesome.
Real quick, couple comments.
Okay.
Eddie Murphy, Joe Judge is a fraud. Beelan, Joe Judge is a clam. Him and Joe Brady can go to college. Eddie Murphy, Giants need to hire a GM which have no ties to the Giants unless it's the Great Bill. LOL. Beelan, some really good points. Giants should go after McDaniels, push up Patrick Graham, or go for Ryan Day. Beelan's also saying Doug Peterson is another wild card. Eddie Murphy saying McDaniels, though, is waiting for that Patriot job to open.
Can I just mention one other thing?
Yeah.
Talking about general managers and doing some research, there are two guys, and I'm sure Judge, if he's going to be there, he's going to have a somewhat of a strong say on who the GM could be. There's two guys, one who's the director of player development, or player personnel development, who actually was on the staff with Belichick, Monty Ossenfort, who's the Titan director of player personnel. Second guy is Dave Ziegler, who was also on the Patriots at the same time that Judge was on the staff. So those two guys, just throwing those names out there for future reference, if in fact they will keep Judge, and obviously with Gettleman retiring, quote unquote, those two guys might be in consideration, especially if they're going to keep Judge as coach.
Fair points. And Sis, let's get yours real.
First of all, if they bring in a real general manager, there's no way in the world he's not going to bring in who he wants to be as a head coach. That's number one. Number two, if they do make Judge involved in this, the Maras, they should be run out of town. But anyway,
I agree, Sis. I totally agree.
I agree too.
You're good. You're going to get some hot shot, and Kurt probably knows the answer to this. First of all, in Judge, you got a specialty team coach. He was never an offensive coordinator, and he was never a defensive coordinator. So whoever goes through these playoffs, and again, Kirk could probably tell us, the hottest offensive coordinator, maybe if they bring in a real GM, will wind up as the head coach of the Giants. Because right now, my own opinion, there's nobody out there that I really think that would go to the Giants as a good head coach. I really don't. So, Kurt, who would it be?
You know what? I mean, listen, Byron Leftwich, people are going to say in Tampa, Bieniemy, like
Right.
Paul said.
Okay, Tampa,
I mean,
yep.
do you steal Kellen Moore from Dallas? I mean, you know, New England, it's obviously, like you're saying, McDaniels would be the guy, but is he going to leave?
Staying there.
Is he
gonna
going to
take
leave?
Belichick's-
You know, like,
No,
is he going to
no,
leave?
he's
Like,
not.
that's the,
I'm gonna give
He
you my
already tried
three.
Yeah, go ahead.
And Paul, you might want to pull your hat over your head, and Sis, you might want to step out of the room when I give
No,
you. my
you're not going to top what you said before. No.
Oh,
way
this
in the
is close. This is close.
No,
This but
world. Not even close.
All right,
We're gonna
I'll
have
take sideways.
We're gonna have
Anyway,
to deactivate
Trubisky.
your Giants fan card.
So here's my
Trubisky.
process in this. If I'm the GM, and I started interviewing guys. The one thing I want to look for most is what's important to you. What wins, or what kind of wins is most important to you? Division wins. I need to make sure we beat the Cowboys, we beat the Eagles, we beat the Washington football team. So I got three guys here that I think know the NFC East very well and are different style of coaches. One, never coached. This is why he's number three, because he'd be another first-time coach, and he's young. And Kurt just mentioned him. That's Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for the Cowboys. Knows the Cowboys well, and he would bring a little flashiness to our offense, which we need. He's number three because he would be good, I think, with a young rookie quarterback. I don't want him with a veteran like Russell Wilson. Number two is another guy on the Dallas staff, and that Kurt also mentioned, Dan Quinn. Am I a big fan of Dan Quinn? No, I'm not sold on Dan Quinn, but I would take him in the right situation.
Beelan's saying Kenny's trying to get suspended from the K&K Sports Show.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, after him blowing a 23-point lead in the Super Bowl, you want him as a Giant coach? Oh, my God.
But his defense is playing, and he would know Dallas's offense and shut down Mr. Prescott. Again, this has to do with knowing the
So did Jason Garrett.
Now, Sis, step out of the room when I give you number one.
Kurt, he's got to be banned next week with these picks, Kurt.
My number one guy, and it's gonna steam a lot of Giant fans, but I'm gonna explain why. Doug Peterson. Doug Peterson is my number one guy. Yeah, he tanked. He tanked.
Peterson.
He tanked that game in Washington.
Paul, what's
But
this
you
guy
know what?
thinking, Paul?
How
But
can
you know what?
Kenny? up
What better
until
guy to
tonight-
stick it to the Eagles, sis? What better guy to stick it to the Eagles, Kurt? Am I right? As a Bronco fan, Kurt, what better guy to stick it to the Eagles?
Yeah, that's true. Eddie Murphy saying, Kenny, you're high. Beelan, I think a spot opening up on this show if you want. It is yours.
Doug Peterson
Kenny.
would know the Eagles
Doug
hands down.
Peterson.
I
mean, I will-
Heartbeat.
Listen, I will say this. He does have Super Bowl winning head coach behind his name. That I will give you.
With a veteran quarterback for Doug Peterson, like a Russell Wilson.
Hey, Paul, says, Paul Beelan saying, I'm on next week. Give Kenny his slip for next week.
Yeah, pink slip.
All
He's right.
Guys, real quick,
Pink slip.
quick hitter style, Kurt. Who would you want in the draft? 3, 2, 1 for the Broncos.
I don't want to pick until round 4 because I want all my picks going to Seattle or Green Bay.
Fair enough. If we were not traded, my number 1 pick would be Neal, the offensive tackle from Alabama. My second pick would be Matt Corral. And then I did it as like a second round pick. I want Kenny Walker the third because I'm seriously thinking about trading Barkley in the offseason. Paul.
Okay. Well, obviously, if we trade the first 2 picks for Russell Wilson, that takes care of that. But if that doesn't happen, also, I want that Neal from Alabama in this way too soon mock draft. Aiden Hutchinson would be my number 2 edge pick. And number 3 would be Kayvon Troubadour from Oregon as another edge.
Yeah. Fair enough. I like all 3 of those. I would take in a heartbeat. Sis.
Definitely Mr. Neal from Alabama at the tackle spot. This will blow you out of the water. Number 2, Akeem. I think it's pronounced Ikinawan from North Carolina, the guard.
Oh, yeah,
That
yeah.
kid is a beast.
Yeah.
And number 3, Mr. Tyler Lindenberg from Iowa at center. That
Yeah.
would be my 3 people.
This
right
one's
there.
3 people.
I can pick
3
them.
offensive
I can
linemen.
pick them. That's a
If you
coaching
had to
coming
pick
out.
for the Giants, Kurt, as a GM, who would you go for?
O-line first. O-line and D-line because that's where the game's won. That's what I would do. O-line, D-line.
Would you think about trading Barkley and going and get like a Kenny Walker type of running back or Isaiah Spiller?
No, I mean, I would keep. Again, I'm not paying Barkley that money. I mean, Barkley's not getting $20 million.
That's what I mean. He's going to be a free agent in 2 years. So
No, I'll let him.
get
I'll run
something
him.
while you can.
Beelan saying I think the headset is squeezing his air to his brain. But that's I would go O-line, D-line, or try to trade the picks for a quarterback.
Wait a minute.
They
Didn't
get a line. The kid
Beelan
Booker's
say
legit.
Peterson's a wild card?
He
And
did.
now he's telling, so he's banned next week too.
He did.
All right,
Kid
Kurt.
Booker's legit. He needs a line.
Yeah.
Yes. You
All
don't
right.
need a
So
run
final
back.
thoughts. Final
Final
thoughts. I will start. I'm going to start it. All right. I'll start this one because a couple weeks ago, he stood on there. He didn't have the headsets, but he goes, I don't know why you guys, Mr. Valenti and all the Colorado guys, I don't know what your problem is. 3 years, 90 million. You don't even have to give 3 years 90. They're saying he wants 2 years, 25 each. So 2 years, 50, guaranteed of 38 million. That's all you got to give him. Kenny, listen, he's got 2,954 yards. I'll give you that quarterback. He's got a 67.6 completion percentage. 18 touchdowns, 7 picks. Hey, he's also got 96 rushing yards. Sign him. You wanted him. You told him. You told everybody on the panel we're crazy for not wanting him. You have the opportunity. And you took, you ready for this, sis? Mitch Trubisky over him. Mitch Trubisky. I don't know why, because you know why? Even though your headset and your brain's a little screwed up and Beelan saying, final thoughts. Kenny, enjoy your week off. See you after Christmas. You know you don't want to spend money on that backup quarterback, Teddy Bridgewater. But other than that, my final thoughts, enjoy your Christmas shopping. I'm in major trouble. I have to go get it. And go Broncos this week, baby. Let's go. Mr. Rosen, your final thoughts.
Well, I'll just say happy holidays to everybody. My final thought regarding my football team is I don't see us winning another game the rest of the year. So hopefully that convinced Mr. Mara and Mr. Tisch that Mr. Judge should not continue his employment with the New York Football Giants. I don't want people losing their jobs, but hey, you know what? One of the things I read was that if they would fire him, he would have 3 different coaches that they would be paying for the next year, which at this point, it's not my problem.
You know what, Paul? You're right. It's not your problem, but you know what? This is my mentality. If it's their if you know it's a problem and you know it's not going to work, don't prolong it. Just end it, pay it, and get right.
Right. I mean, you got to cut it out. And you know, if the owners of the Giants don't want to admit they made a mistake, well, you know what? The bigger mistake is keeping the guy and then having next year where it just turns into a similar year. And that's the frustration that I think most, if not all, Giant fans have.
Right. Paul, I always say this about mistake. Listen, the Cardinals made a mistake. They took Josh Rosen. Everybody says, there's no way the Cardinals can take a quarterback next year. You can't take another quarterback. You can't. Does anybody even talk about the Cardinals took quarterback? No, because they got rid of the problem. They brought in Kyler Murray. And every team should have that mentality. Hey, if the Jets like Matt Corral better than Zach Wilson, draft Matt Corral. Draft them, Beelan. You can always package. You'll get rid of Zach Wilson. But if you have, because you have a chance to take any quarterback on that board. If you love Matt Corral and he's better on your board than Zach Wilson, go take him.
Yeah.
Mr. Sis, final thoughts.
Yeah, this show tonight, I'm in total amazement. Is the best word I guess I could think of, because these statements tonight were like they were blowouts. Doug Peterson for the head coach of the Giants and Mitch Trubisky as a backup. I mean, I'm still sitting here in amazement. I can't believe he even made these statements. I'm embarrassed to say.
Daniel Jones will look like Joe Montana to Mitch Trubisky.
Really?
You might be able to run the speed option with Mitch Trubisky, maybe.
He's a true fraud tonight, I can tell you. I never called him that either. Tonight, he's a king of fraud.
Well, Sis, isn't he a fraud too that he doesn't want Teddy Bridgewater after he's selling it? He's selling the goods to everybody else.
Right.
It's like, buy this car.
Right.
You get a chance to take the car. I'm not taking that garbage car.
He's like the guy in New York City with the 3 shell game.
Right.
And Mr. Mr. Kirkpatrick, you got
card Monty.
Eddie Murphy. By the way, Eddie Murphy, his last comment is saying he agrees with Sis. He wants to see Fromm play this week, Sis.
Yeah,
Well,
sure.
I'm glad you went to me last.
Go ahead,
worse.
Fraud. You got the final word.
Because now I can defend my Mitch Trubisky pick. Jake Fromm was on the Bills practice squad. Mitch Trubisky was the Bills backup. Giants backup. Don't want him to start. I want him to be there to push a rookie quarterback. But you know what, Kurt? I will gladly give you Daniel Jones, and I'll take Teddy Bridgewater for our quarterback next year.
I don't want either.
Fromm played at Georgia. Trubisky played at North Carolina. End the conversation.
But Trubisky also played for Matt Nagy.
That even makes it worse.
Sis, you ready for that? You want me to really blow your mind, Sis?
Go ahead.
They took Trubisky. Okay. They traded another pick because the Bears had the third pick.
Right.
The 49ers suckered them in, and they took Trubisky over. Are you ready? Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew Mahomes was in there.
A lot of people took took players over Pat Mahomes. And Deshaun Watson, look where he is now. So Deshaun Watson never won anything. Pat Mahomes, I'll give you, but a lot of teams passed up on Pat Mahomes.
I would take Deshaun Watson now after all he did.
Me too.
If he did 3 bank jobs, I'd still take him over Trubisky.
Me too. Me too. I would
And
take.
as for Peterson, it would steam so many Eagle fans, and just to have that luxury is why I would want Doug Peterson.
Yeah, he could bring his brother Carl as a general manager with him. Mhm.
But
Another crook.
And as for
another
GM,
thief.
I know we got to go. As for GM, I want somebody who has balls. Make a bold move. I want a bold move. You want the GM job? Give me a bold move right now that you're going to do. Okay, I'm going to sign Doug Peterson. Your job's yours.
okay,
That's a bold move. That's a bold move.
guys, real
that's
quick.
a bold move.
Real quick, as soon as I'm done, I'm going to send you guys a tweet each through Facebook Messenger. I want you to look at it and just be like, wow, thumbs up, I like it, thumbs down, or I want your opinion on it. So,
All right.
I just wanted to start this up tonight. It's been a dull show.
No.
I
Somebody
ain't
came on
backpedaling. I ain't
Hold up.
backpedaling.
Hold up.
Those are my statements, sis. Those are my
Somebody
statements.
came
I'm
on the
messing with
show
you.
last week and backpedaled.
I'm messing with you. I'm not backpedaling.
Let's not get into
That's
that.
not my style.
I don't
You
like
know that.
people that backpedal.
No, and that's not my style. I'm messing with you. I'm not
Okay.
backpedaling. Those are my statements,
Right.
and I'm sticking to them.
boys, have a good night. I will see everybody tomorrow night for our Wits and Wages.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
guys.
Have a good night.